Hey everybody, Stephanie here for Wellness Wednesdays with Stephanie. I am a holistic wellness coach, and I've been doing these wellness coaching videos for about a month and a half now, and I'm super excited to start my YouTube career. This has been so much fun, being able to share my holistic wellness coaching nuggets of wisdom, because I really love helping people get healthier. I call myself a self-healing specialist. And basically what that means to me is that I have been doing my own self-healing for the last 20 years of my life. I know I look young, but I'm actually in my 40s, and I attribute this youthful glow to my healthy lifestyle. And I totally believe that we as humans can heal ourselves. We have innate healing abilities that nobody really tells us about. And the more that we're able to engage those healing abilities, the healthier we become. In order for your body to achieve optimal wellness, really, we need to create the conditions so that the body can achieve that. And so that looks like a healthy lifestyle, eating healthy foods, making sure you're getting exercise, and managing your stress, getting good nutrition into your body, and really taking care of body, mind, and spirit. And there are a lot of elements to that. Basically, I created this YouTube channel with the idea that I could help raise your consciousness, that I can help educate the community on all of these healthy living aspects, and to really bring more focus on our ability for self-healing and the different self-healing techniques that I use myself. And so for today, I'm talking about my story and how yoga saved my life. And this is a story that actually started when I was in my 20s. I was a workaholic. I was in a challenging marriage at the time, and was experiencing some anxiety and depression, and ended up getting carpal tunnel syndrome in both of my hands. Carpal tunnel also had problems with my wrists, my elbows, my shoulders, even in my neck. And the diagnosis also was for de Quervain's syndrome, which is a tendonitis of the thumb in my left hand. So I decided to have surgery about a year after a tremendous amount of pain. And the orthopedic surgeon, while I was, going through that year, hesitating on that surgery, did a nerve conduction test. I do not recommend those, very painful. Acupuncture, definitely recommend, really helpful for acute pain. Massage, definitely helpful. The cortisone shots, helpful, but only temporarily. A year later, when I did have the surgery, I still had a lot of pain, although the pain had subsided quite a bit because the surgery did resolve the nerve compression. But the drugs that they gave me, I didn't tolerate very well, so I avoided taking the pills. The depression ensued. I was having a very, very hard time emotionally, because I felt like, what am I going to do without my hands for the rest of my life? So I had some suicide ideation back then. I had some serious concerns that I wouldn't survive. I would just give up and never ever be on this planet again. And it was a really hard time. As you can imagine, a lot of really challenging thoughts and stress and lots of anxiety, and really just trying to understand from a mind-body perspective, and even from a spiritual perspective, why would my life turn in such a way that would keep me from using my hands? At that point, I was really focused on a career in computers. I had just gotten a certification, not even a year before, in Microsoft Certified Network Engineering, and my plan was to step into a role into a help desk position and start doing some networking and computer even web design, things of that nature. And all of a sudden, my hands were in so much pain that I could not pursue that career. And it just made me step back and think, what on earth am I going to do with my life if I cannot do computers, or if I can't do what I had been doing all that time that led to this carpal tunnel syndrome in the first place? I was working in corporate America, had lots of administrative assistance position experience, and I just felt like, how can I continue? What can I do next? So after the surgery, they had me on about 6 months medical leave from the job, and I spent a lot of time at home, a lot of time in isolation, and a lot of time sitting on the couch watching television. At the time we had cable, so I was perusing through the channels and came across a yoga class on Fit TV called Breathing Space Yoga. And at the time, I'd never even seen yoga, let alone tried it. So I sat and watched the video, and I decided to set it on my TiVo and continue to record a couple of these videos, but didn't really try it. I had about 6 of the videos recorded, and one day I was watching them and I thought, you know, this really doesn't look that hard. Okay, I'm gonna give this a shot. I was alone in the living room. Nobody was there to watch me or judge me. So I got on the floor and I started practicing with the video. And the first thing I noticed during the practice was that heart opening, the space that she talked about. I mean, the whole idea of the class was breathing space yoga. So a lot of the focus was on the breath, bringing the breath into the lungs, deep into the lungs, practicing the pranayama, the deep breathing techniques. And at the end of my yoga practice, this is the very first time I had ever tried yoga. I was laying in shavasana, that final relaxation, and I just checked in with my body. How am I feeling right now? Where is my pain level? And I was astonished. My pain had gone from about a level 8. So now I was living at basically a level 8 in my pain level. It had gone down to about a 2. And I was just blown away that a physical practice like yoga could alleviate all of that pain and take it out of my body. So I started to practice yoga on a regular basis, and it really did change my focus. It changed the way that I saw myself. It really was my savior. I found my savior, and it was me. I was my savior. I was the one that I was able to resolve the pain better than the surgery, better than the drugs, better than any of the therapies. I was my savior, and it blew me away that I could do something so simple and so profound as a few movements on my living room floor that could change everything. Flash forward about 5 years, I had been practicing yoga on a regular basis. A lot of my pain had subsided. I still, to this day, this is a permanent injury, so I still to this day have some carpal tunnel pain, a little bit of tendonitis pain, but a lot of it has been resolved because I exercise, because I do this yoga practice, because I take better care of my body than I ever have in my life. And because I really am conscious of how much time I spend on the computer, on technology, I'm conscious of how much time I put toward any of the things that were causing the pain in the first place. This experience really changed my perceptions. And after the yoga practice, I discovered Joseph Pilates. I started doing a lot of reading during that time because I didn't really have the wherewithal to go to a yoga class. I was more apt to practice my yoga in my living room. So I avoided those classes. I didn't want to be judged. I was an overweight girl, and it just felt uncomfortable for me to go and practice yoga. You know, I'd walked by several of those studios, seeing all these beautiful yoga bodies in the studio and thought, I can't even compare myself to these ladies. I can't do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to keep doing this at home. And so I sought out as much information as I can. I found great DVDs from Gaia TV. My favorite, absolute favorite yoga teacher on Gaia is Rodney Yee. He's got a beautiful body and just a very, really beautiful way of teaching yoga, which I absolutely recommend. If you can find him on Gaia TV, now that they have an app where you can access videos by Rodney and several of his colleagues. And then I also started reading a lot. I read books about the ancient texts. I read Bhagavad Gita and the Yoga Sutras. I found everything I could about meditation, about spiritual awakening, nirvana, anything that I could get my hands on, I was reading constantly. One of my favorite books is The 7 Spiritual Laws of Yoga by Deepak Chopra. And during that time, I didn't realize it was an introduction to the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali. And it opened me up to a whole new experience, because the yoga really was my spiritual awakening. It started out as a physical practice that helped me remove my pain, but led me to this amazing spiritual awakening. Started out in a meditation, simple meditation. I was sitting on my couch and just tapping into the universe and asking for guidance. And the guidance that I got was so profound. I call this my very first awakening. And during that first awakening, I was shown how the universe works, from the tiniest little molecules all the way to the stars. And it was a beautiful journey that someone spiritually led me through. Visually, I could see everything and I could see how it all connected. This shifted my perspective even more. Before that time, I had no real spiritual basis. I didn't attend church as a kid. I didn't have a whole lot of understanding of spirituality. And it wasn't until my mid-20s that during that meditation that all of a sudden it was like a click, a light went on, and I understood that there is something more to this reality, and there are things beyond what I can see. And I started to acknowledge that maybe there was a lot more that I didn't understand. And I started to question a lot more. I started to research a lot more about philosophies, the world religions, and I learned so much from all of the research that I have done. Everything that I've worked for. I have been working on a book, which I mentioned in my last episode, called The Art of Balance in a World of Chaos. Now, a lot of that, the very beginning part of that book, The World of Chaos, is about all of the challenges, all of the toxins, all of the things that we've encountered as human beings over the last 100 years that I believe have caused a lot of our diseases and suffering. And the second half of the book is The Art of Balance. How do we create a balance in our lifestyle in order to achieve that optimal wellness or holistic wellness that I was talking about in the beginning of this video? So moving forward through time, I hit into my 30s. I was researching Joseph Pilates and learning about holistic movement and core strengthening. And I understood that there was a physical component of yoga that was enhanced by practicing the Pilates practices, the movement, the mat work that's taught in Pilates classes. Later on, I started teaching yoga. I felt like I just wanted to scream from the rooftops about yoga, and I started these Sunday yoga lessons in the park, and every week I'd show up at the park. I promoted it on Facebook and people would show up, and it was really beautiful. I got to teach yoga to old people, young people, kids. It was really great. During that time, I probably spent about 6 or 8 months every Sunday doing those yoga classes. I was also researching the yoga teacher certification because I knew that I needed to expand my teaching, and I really wanted to do it in the right way. So I ended up going through yoga teacher training, the 200-hour Yoga Alliance certification with Mary Beth Hammond at the Yoga Channel in Oxnard, California. And that training really opened me up to greater possibilities and a lot more of an understanding of how to teach in a way that was more accessible to people. My specialty in yoga teaching is teaching beginners, because I was a beginner all those years ago and I was so scared to step into practice. But once I did, it just opened so many doors, and that's really where my heart is and where I would like to share it. I mentioned earlier that yoga was a spiritual awakening, and this was an unexpected awakening. It started out in meditation with like higher consciousness, not really realizing what that higher consciousness meant, but that higher consciousness led me to universal wisdom. And a lot of spiritual people talk about this idea that we all have access to this there's this spiritual connection and this universal wisdom. My connection started in meditation, and it opened me up to a lot of different things. For example, it opened me up to, if we're all connected, shouldn't we all be vegetarians? Shouldn't we all be honoring all the animals, all the beings on our planet? And it awakened my spirit. It showed me that I have a bigger path for my life, and it gave me access to all of these amazing psychic abilities. So it started with becoming more empathic. I was able to walk into a room and check and sense the energy in the room. I could sit next to someone and sense their emotional well-being and where they were emotionally and spiritually. And I started to experiment with energy healing. I knew that because I had such a sensitivity, I could move energy. And so I experimented with my ex and with my friends, and later on started to develop other psychic gifts. I have clairsentience, which is being able to feel spirit, and clairaudience, which is being able to hear spirit. I learned how to ask the universe for what I wanted and what I needed. Around that time is when The Secret was released, that movie, and I started to work with the laws of the universe and started to align my life with my truth. And the messages that showed up were that I am love, I'm a catalyst, I'm a healer, I'm an intuitive. I have a journey that has been set forth for me, and my goal and my purpose on this planet is to simply walk that path and to be wholly connected and truthful in that path. During one of my meditations, I asked for a guru, and this is after I started to recognize that I had some clairsentience and clairaudience abilities. My great-grandmother was a very strong matriarch, and she was able to connect me with a guru. It was her guru when she was alive. He was a Pilates and yoga expert, and yes, this is a spiritual guru, someone who came through every time I was practicing yoga. He would show up and he would guide me on my mat. It was quite amazing experience, and during that time I understood that his guidance was definitely attached to my dedication. The more dedicated I was to my practice, the more often he would show up. And he was ultimately my support system that led me into my teaching and my yoga teaching career. As I moved through all of that experience, I had also discovered Ventura College and studied the holistic health program. So yoga and meditation led to Ventura College and the Holistic Health program. Holistic Health led me to study the world religions, Buddhism, more meditation, whole person healing, philosophy. I even studied sociology, anthropology, kinesiology, and some of the science focus, the biology, the chemistry, anatomy, physiology, all of these wonderful subjects that opened my mind to greater possibilities of what the human body was capable of. And in that time, there was a really great experience. Actually, during that time, I had some wonderful connections and really great experiences at Ventura College that I will never forget. One of them in particular that stands out regarding my yoga experience was a holistic movement class with my favorite teacher. Her name was Constance McLean. Constance is still one of my friends on Facebook, and we interact every once in a while. She leads some great spiritual community groups up there in Santa Barbara, and I'm not sure if she's still teaching at Ventura College, but still out there, still making a difference in what she loves. But in that class, she taught us Pilates. I learned all about the core and the powerhouse. She taught us about somatic awareness through yoga. She taught us about movement patterns and pain through the Feldenkrais techniques. And she taught us dance and the release of self-judgment. During this time, I had a serious awakening about who I was and the power that I had as a human being, what I was able to accomplish. And I became completely fearless. I started a business. I started to teach people all of these holistic wellness techniques just on intuition. I started a wellness center. I started doing health fairs. There was just an amazing amount of inspiration that was coming out of my body that I had to do something with. Now, all these years later, that was about 2014 when I graduated from Ventura College. So 6 years later, I am at ASU and I'm realizing that power again, stepping into my role as a holistic lifestyle coach, giving people tools and techniques on YouTube, and sharing as much as I can at the ASU Tempe campus in the wellness department, offering my service to ASU students and faculty and staff. And so I really do feel that everything that I've done up until this point has been the direction that I was guided to go. The reason I'm sharing this story is I wanted to be able to share who I am and really give you a chance to get to know me as a person, as a spirit, as a mind-body connection, as, you know, this healer that I am. I really wanted to share a little bit of myself. I wanted to give you a little piece of me. So here you go. Thank you so much for listening to my story and visiting my channel. I really appreciate all of my subscribers and send you all of my love and blessings. I so appreciate your support in this journey of becoming a YouTuber and being able to share my stories and my wisdom with you. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. If you want more of my wisdom, please do subscribe. And if you'd like notifications, please hit the little bell next to the subscription button. And if you really were inspired by this video, I do absolutely recommend that you share it. Go ahead and put it on your Facebook, your Instagram. Let people know that I'm here and that I'm loud and that I really want to make a difference in the world and who we are as human beings. I really do think that the more we connect and the more that we help each other raise our consciousness, the more that we will be a healthy planet. And with that, I say thank you, blessings to you, namaste.